Kyle Long, by the way, there are conflicting reports coming out of some injury he suffered yesterday. He's going to be out, they think, a lot of training camp even, maybe all the way up until the regular season. Right before then, obviously, Kyle Long, noted Pro Bowl All-Pro guard for the Chicago Bears. Then he gets injured towards the end of his career, has a little bit of a disagreement, I think, with potential turnover in front office and coach. He goes in and elects to retire. Electric man. I got a chance to hang out with him. We got a chance to meet him. He's been on the show. He is an awesome dude. Seemed like he found passion for the sport that was football yet again. He was golfing. He did some TV, did some NASCAR talk. He was enjoying his life. But I think he felt as if his football life had a unwritten ending. So he said, I'm coming back. The Chicago Bears kind of got him off his contract, I guess. I don't know. They have to cut him off. Ballard would have to do the same. If I come back, they would have to let my rights be free or whatever. Goes and works out for the Raiders. We all thought he was going to go to the Raiders because his dad is a legend there, Howie, obviously. He must be coming back to play for the Raiders. He gets out of the building. He goes into the Kansas City Chiefs building. Then all of a sudden you hear Kyle Long is back, and now he's a member of a team that is looking to build and do the next dynasty that the NFL, kind of lost out on when the Patriots became a bad football team all of a sudden out of nowhere after 20 years of dominance. He was looking good. He looked excited. And then yesterday, a minor setback came. It is either it's a lower leg injury. Sounds a lot like hockey there, the way it's being described, because it was reported that he got hurt and he's going to be out. Then it was reported, he has a broken patella, like he fractured his kneecap. Ooh. And then they're like, still going to be back in time. Then now it's like, we don't know if it's a fractured patella. It is just a lower leg injury or something. But the timeline remains. He should be ready. There is a chance he'll be ready by week 1. Kyle Long put out a tweet basically saying, hey, I did everything I possibly could to get ready. I'm not going to let this basically kind of change any of the process that he had to go through. And I think he's going to be back. Whatever the timeline is, I think Kyle Long was dead set and excited to get back into football, found love for football again, said he was enjoying his teammates. I don't know what the timeline is. Let's assume he'll be able to beat it. We're pulling for you over here, Kyle.
Yeah, good luck, Kyle.
T's and P's, want to see you back on the field because I think that's where you want to be, and that's where we want you to be if that's where you want to be. The broken kneecap, though, whenever I heard that, I was like, yeah, that doesn't sound like that's just like a couple months, right? Season starts in a couple months, less than 100 days. There was 100. He's just going to come back from a broken knee, and then it was corrected. Lower leg injury timeline remains, though. We'll see how that pans out. Doing Pelissero, Garofalo. I think Pelissero is maybe the first one on it. Kyle Long, lower leg injury. Then it was maybe a fractured patella. He'll be back, and then now it's back to lower leg injury. What are we hearing here out of Kyle Long? This is a shame because Kyle Long, it felt like he was so happy to get back into the game. He was with the Chiefs. He was doing well. What are we looking at here for our guy Kyle?
Well, it's to me, it's sort of two things, right? And this is something that me and Pelissero worked on while he was toiling in his office this morning, and I was on hole 4 or 5, missing a lot of putts. Kind of nailed it down this morning, got a lower leg injury, did a bunch of tests. A couple things about this. One, the overwhelming reaction is basically like you said, where everyone just hates it because Kyle Long is the best. It was a really cool story. Out of retirement, the kind of guy who comes back and gets himself in really good shape and has a chance to make the team and be a starter for the Chiefs. So he is out until probably the start of the season. So that is bad news. It seems like it's some sort of significant break. That's the bad news. The good news is people are talking about it like he's got a chance to come back week 1, which means he's probably going to make the team, right? Like everybody loves Kyle Long, and this was a cool story. But when someone comes out of retirement, hasn't played in a year, and is kind of trying to reinvent themselves, we don't know if they're going to make the team at all or not. And the fact that it's being discussed now that Kyle Long will be back by week 1 or week 2 maybe, that means he's probably going to make it. So it's not all bad.
Ian, what are we? Ian,
how catastrophic.
Ian, I understand that for some people they retire, they come back, they might not make it, but there was not a single report that Kyle was not going to be a starter for that team, was there? I thought it was all. No. I thought we're all very much understanding. Like, all right, here we go, Tooney, Kyle's in there. They go to Orlando Brown. Like, hey, they got a holy. That's what I thought. Was that not the? Was I misreading that?
No, and I think a lot of people were saying that. I'm just saying, like, I've seen this too often where you have a guy who's either coming out of retirement or the last leg of their career. They come into training camp and then sometimes those guys don't look the same, and sometimes they don't like it the same. Like I remember when I was in New England covering the Patriots, there were a couple training camp retirements. I think Teddy Bruschi had one. Troy Brown had another where you show up for camp, you're ready, and then you're like, wow, I'm not ready for this. So missing a year, he had a lot of injuries. I was sort of not sure about it, but now it does sound like he's going to make it at least.
Kyle Long, friend of the show, lower leg injury. He is going to be back before the season, and Ian Rappaport alluded to the fact in the first hour that means he was going to make the team definitely. I thought that was a foregone conclusion, and these injuries that happen, especially in OTAs, such a fucking mood killer in the locker room.
Well, first off, look at that left arm right now. You tell me that guy's a threat to not make the football team?
Hey, listen, especially with his football knowledge, his IQ, he's been there. It felt like when he retired, it was mental and I guess some physical injuries as well, which get people in that thing. But I was baffled by the thought of that means they're making the team. That must be a question somewhere. But
he's going to start. I thought he was going to start there.
So did I. So did I. I thought Orlando, Long, Tooney, who else? You guys got rid of Eric Fisher and Schwartz, right?
Those they're gone. Laurent Duvernay's back.
Oh, the dog is back.
Yeah.
The whole revamped offensive line that we were all like, all of a sudden they have like top 3 offensive line in the NFL right now. And we just assumed Kyle Long was going to be the starter and make it back because of how good of a player he was before he retired. But this is a bummer. And this is one of those things where Kyle Long, pretty infectious guy. I think as soon as he got signed, he didn't leave Kansas City. He was like, hey, I want to get back into the mix of thing, wants to be a team. That's the bad part of these OTAs. It's like it gets better, but if you lose anybody in OTAs, training camp, or preseason, everybody starts looking around like, man, was not worth it right there, you know?
No, it's not. Luckily, I guess, for Chiefs fans and for Kyle, I think, thankfully, they said he has a good chance to make it back by week 1. And it's not an Achilles, it's not an ACL, one of those deals that would put him out for the full season. So, but unfortunately now, in June and July, instead of sitting there getting into football shape and really fine-tuning everything, he's going to be rehabbing whatever he has.
They were just going to maul people too. Orlando.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, he was going to go try to kill people. Mm-hmm. That was going to be a great. Now, how do they replace that? I assume that if he's scheduled to return right before season, offensive line, I don't think that's one of those ones where you just, as soon as you're healthy, you're right back in. I don't think, right? Is it? Unless rehab.
Depends. Yeah, depends how good you feel and depends how many games you've played in this league. And I know Kyle had a year off, but this guy has plenty of games under his belt, and he has knocked out plenty of people.
And I guess this is, by the way, where the physical therapists, the trainers, the staff that's in Kansas City, it's like, okay, how do we treat this injury how we're supposed to, but also keep your body in shape well enough that when you get back, you won't get deboed by some other incredible athlete that has been training the entire time. That's like that full, when somebody puts together the regimen or like whatever the fuck it's called, the process, the procedure. Is that what it is?
The rehab plan?
Yeah, but it's called
the
something.
Plan?
Regimen's a good one.
I think, whatever it is. It has
manifesto?
Yeah, maybe one of those things. But there's like a full thing. It's like, hey, we're doing this because of this. We got to do this by this day because of this. Like, that's a very fascinating part of injuries.
Timeline.
Yeah, timeline. There it is. Fucking hey, come on, dude. That's not a tough word either. I should have got that one.
Hey, but with Kyle,
on?
though, Pat, don't you think they're going to be very conservative with when they get him back in and how many, like maybe they ease him back in? They know, hey, we have 17 regular season games. We're going for the Super Bowl. We need to make sure we're ready when it counts. And they want that depth. And they don't want something to happen like happened last year in the